Hello and welcome to the Complete Lakers podcast. I'm Anthony Wilson, recording from Los Angeles, California. Joining me are my two prestigious co-hosts, Jason Big Mitch Mitchell and David Galvis. How are you guys doing tonight?
What up? What up? Feeling good, feeling great.
Yo, Lakers up 1-0.
Right.
Gang, gang.
Lakers are up 1-0 over the Rockets. Game two is Tuesday night. Uh, Kevin Durant, I think Mitch said that it's looking like Durant's going to be a go in game two. Of course, uh, he did not play in game one due to a bruise and his it was a knee bruise. Um, and the Lakers were victorious. Mitch, before the series, when we recorded last week, before the series started, you picked Lakers in six, while Gowers and I both picked the Rockets in between four, I think, and like four or five, four. I said Lakers in four. I'm sorry, I said Rockets in four or five. And Galvin said,
hmm
I don't remember what Galvin said, five or six for the Rockets, something like that, four, whatever it was. But yeah, Mitch said Lakers in six, and Lakers took game one. I mean, Mitch, how did you feel? Well, obviously, the Durant thing, nobody was prepared for that. I think Sham said he hurt his knee Wednesday during practice last week. So when we
hmm
recorded, nobody had any clue that Kevin Durant might not play game one. So that
No,
changed everything.
mm-mm,
But
definitely.
Mitch, like, how watching that game? I mean, how did it make you? Did you feel a little bit vindicated?
You know, I would love to sit here and and say that, but it's not exactly what I envisioned. Um, in my vision, I was thinking more, LeBron was going to be taking like the scoring load. Yeah, LeBron and Rui and maybe Aiden. So yeah, I mean, Luke Kennard going off for 27 was not exactly on my bingo card necessarily. Um, you know, and we got to shout out the little fella Shane Murray because in the group chat we had this whole back and forth about how he's a closeted bronzexual. Um, because I was like, well, LeBron's gonna have to go off because in those last three games, LeBron was what he was averaging what like 27, 26 in those last three games of the season. So I'm thinking, that's probably like the formula that we're gonna have, against the Rockets too. Uh, but the little fella Shane Murray, he disagreed. He disagreed. So I'm gonna give him a little credit because he was the one that said LeBron is not gonna have to go off and he believes in the pieces around him. Now, to be fair as well, he didn't know that KD wasn't going to play either. Uh, so, but we'll give him that little credit because, the little fella's not right often. So, we got to praise him when he makes a correct prediction because, we obviously kill him every time he's wrong, which is obviously often. Um, but you know, like you said though, Anthony, I mean, KD being out, it definitely shifted things. Like they have no point guard, they have no main scorer without KD. So, tomorrow night's going to be a totally different game. So I'm curious to see if my vision will shine through now in game two. But I mean, in the playoffs, like you every game is crucial. So the fact that we were able to get that one was huge. So no KD, I don't care. Nobody's crying for us that we don't have Austin or Luka. So I don't give a care if they didn't have KD or not. We need that win. So, but I'm curious to see how it all shakes out in game two. Uh, we need Aiden to play like he played again. Marcus Smart was huge. Uh, hopefully Luke Kennard can. I don't know if he's going to go for 27 again, but I mean, maybe like 15 to 20. You know what I mean? And then we get Rui chipping in. I think it's gonna have to be a total team effort. Then again, my vision is that we go back to the game plan, get the ball out of KD's hands, everybody chip in. Um, I guess I'm actually more encouraged seeing that um, Luke Kennard was able to go off. So as long as we're able to execute the game plan, get the ball out of KD's hands, I think you know what, man, I feel good. I feel good about this Lakers and six pick. But let's see how tomorrow goes before I start really gloating though, for sure.
Okay, Galvis.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to start by saying real quick. I know this is a Laker podcast, but I want to shout out KD real quick. The man's 37. He played 78 games, averaged 26 points throughout the season, and you can clearly see just how much of a difference he makes. And uh, take away the phantom rings that people like to say he has, or the burners, and all that. This guy is legit the top 3 or 5 scorer in the history of the game, right? Pound for pound. Uh, it just sucks. I'm obviously I'm happy that he's not playing because it's a night and day difference. But as a basketball fan, it kind of sucks, because we want to see KD and Bron go at it, just like McGrady and Kobe, McGrady and AI and all that. But but the Lakers, man. I asked myself, do we? What's the end game in this? And I said it last week, right? What would be the point of Luka rushing back? We're not beating OKC, right? And this game one victory almost probably gave him like a shot in the arm, like a jolt. And he's like, "Yeah, I could come back. I could come back." I mean, we've seen how many players come back from injuries too soon. Um, the last thing we need is this guy tearing his Achilles, and then he's out for the whole season, kind of like Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh gosh, don't even put
Um,
that in the universe.
but it's a realistic thing, right? This guy's he was originally diagnosed to come back in 4 weeks, right? 4 to 6 weeks. It's only been
Something like
two,
that, yeah.
and it's only been 2 to 3 weeks. And I don't mean to be negative. I think we should be celebrating game one. Uh, if Durant can somehow miss another game or two, uh, you know, and Luca's really, really, really certain like he can go, not a well, let me try. Then I think it's worth to run him out. But you know, uh, going to game one real quick. I
Galvis,
think Aiton played
Galvis,
really well.
Galvis. Before you go backwards, I'm sorry. Hold that thought, and we're going to take our first break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Galvis, I'm sorry I interrupted you. You can just pick up where you left off.
Okay. Yeah. So Aiton played really well. That's the type of game we need Aiton to play moving forward. Solid play from pretty much everyone. Um, Obviously, Luke Kennard just made himself a shitload of money, which is not the greatest thing in the world for the Lakers. Um, because they got so many players they got to pay this offseason. Uh, but overall, just a solid game. I think this is probably the best we're gonna see LeBron, unfortunately, because he had like almost a week and a half rest. Uh, but I think the Lakers, seeing how they played, even if KD comes back and no Luka, I'm thinking this could easily be a 6 game series, and it could swing either way. I see them being 2-2 at the end of 4 games, and then game five is that swing game. Um, so I'm feeling very positive about this Laker team. If everybody plays their role, and Luke Kennard could keep being Luke Kennard. Um, yeah, I could see the Lakers winning in 6 or 7.
Okay. Um, shoot. I mean, is
But
there?
what do you okay? So, but what do you okay? What do you guys think about what I said about Luca though?
I mean, I think, I think,
Is it worth rushing him
I think,
when
I think if they
when we
can,
know we're not when we know we're not going to make it out the second round?
if they,
I
I think
think,
they can go ahead, man.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think if he's really ready, I don't want him to rush because, like you said, we've seen this, we've seen players rush back and then, and even worse in playoff basketball where it's so intense, and then they wind up hurting themselves even worse. So that's worst case scenario. So we don't want that. Like basically, I want him to take his time, get right, and if he's really ready, then come back.
Yeah, I think I would say that if we get to um, game five of this series, which we know there will at least be a game five, and we're 2-2, um, and Luca, if there's if there's any chance, I wouldn't rush him. If he's not really ready, then I think he probably shouldn't play because, like you said, at the end of the day, they're not beating OK. I mean, it'll be OKC in the next round. So yeah, they're not. I mean, OKC beat up like a drum four times this year. So I wouldn't risk him possibly coming back and tearing the hamstring. That's no good. What
Game 5 would be next Wednesday, by the way.
next Wednesday? What date would that be? The 29th. Um,
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
he
29.
29th.
what he got?
So at worst will be a game 5.
I think he got hurt April 3rd. So that would be like more than
Three weeks,
like 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It just depends on how he's feeling. Like I said last year, Aaron, Curry had a great one and missed the rest of the that series against they had against Minnesota. Golden State did. He missed the rest of the series after game one, and they lost in I think 5 or 6 or whatever it was. And then, but Aaron Gordon had a great too, like Luka, and he was able to gut it out and play that game seven. Maybe if we get to a game seven, Luka gives it a shot. But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I mean, a hamstring injury though, it's like kind of like it's going into the off season, right? But who wants to have a torn hamstring just for the hell of it, right? It's still some. How would that?
Yeah.
I mean, what is the recovery time on that? I don't really know on a torn ham. But
I
like I'm
think
saying,
there's I
like,
think there's grades.
huh? Yeah. Um. So I don't
Yeah,
really.
I think there's grades.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't. Like I said, it's up to Luca. I mean, I can't really tell him what to do, but I will say that I did look at Curry a little funny last year when he wouldn't try to gut it out, and Gordon did, in Game 7. Um, but like I said, those hamstrings. I remember, I mean, I don't remember, but '89, the Lakers in Santa Barbara, we had swept through the first few rounds of the playoffs, and Riley's putting them through those rigorous practices in Santa Barbara, and Byron strains his. In the final start, Magic strains his. Magic and Byron were gamers, and they couldn't go. So those hamstrings are very tricky. So
Yeah, they're.
um,
Hmm.
yeah, we just have to
The, the
see it. But
the
like,
thing
It could
about
it
hamstrings is like the thing about hamstrings is like I hurt mine once. The thing about it is like you feel good, like you feel okay running straight. The hard part is being able to cut and change directions
so
when you have a
stop and
hamstring.
goes. Yeah.
Stop and goes, changing directions, sliding your feet, like that's the tough part. But just like running up and down the court, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then when you try to like slide your feet or change direction to make your crossover, it's like, okay, that's when it's like, ooh, oof. That's where it's like, that's the tough part with the hamstring.
I've never had a.
And then and the worst part is it will just flare up on you. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it just you'll be fine playing 30 minutes a game, and then next thing you know, just on a simple
It's out of nowhere.
you know
Out of
on a
nowhere.
simple layup, it just now.
Hmm.
Luckily for us, Luca's like doesn't rely on 1 ounce of athleticism. It
Exactly.
just it's not like it's Giannis out there or
That's
these other
why I
guys.
think
It's
he
just
could. That's why I think he could get away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want him to push it too far. But yeah, the way he plays, he could get away with it.
Um. I mean, hey, if there's nothing else, to say about Lakers, I'm not going to force it. I mean, they won game one. KD, Mitch said probably going to play game two. Um. I. What is? I. I mean.
it's just
I,
I think it's just really really it's a downer just knowing that how good this Lakers team could have been with the healthy AR and the healthy you know Luka. Um. That I think both of them healthy. They beat the Rockets in five. And against OKC, I think they give them a run for their money in the playoffs.
you do?
Yeah, I don't think they would win, but I think it would be a lot closer than we think. It would for sure be like a legit 6 game series.
But why though? They beat us like a drum every single time.
It's different in the
Uh,
playoffs, though.
it's different. Yeah, it's different in the playoffs, man. LeBron would have his rest. Uh, Luka would have his rest. It's just you know.
Okay.
I don't
Um.
think. Yeah, but that's neither
And
here nor there.
I forget why, but OKC was really locked in on. I mean, obviously they beat us, by a lot the other times as well. But that last game that Luka got hurt, OKC was really locked in. I forgot why, but there was like some bulletin board material that they got, and they were just like really locked in on us.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, we either like with a healthy Luka and Austin,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have seen them in the second round. We would have
yeah,
kept the 3 seed.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's the main point of that's the main thing that hurts with the injuries.
All right. All right. So we're gonna take another break. All right. So we're back. Mitch said he wanted to say something about. Well, you said you wanted to give a shout out to Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, the current AAA mega champion, the king of the luchadors, obviously the greatest Mysterio of all time. My bad, Dominic Mysterio. How could I not bring up Dominic Mysterio as one of the futures of this business for sure? This guy, he's box office. He's probably going to be like the top heel, uh, you know, going forward with the company. So shout out to Dominic Mysterio. My apologies for the gross oversight. You are indeed the king of the luchadors and the greatest Mysterio. And I'm sorry for not mentioning your name. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna. If we had time, I'd ask why you disrespected Rey Mysterio, but we don't have time because we got to get to
Oh,
this
he's a
game.
deadbeat. He's a deadbeat dad. Didn't you hear?
Okay. Well, we're not about to get to that. We don't have time. All right. Listen. So
Also, want nothing to do with the storyline.
right. So I wanted to play this game. I guess you call it. It's kind of like King of the Court, or in this sense,
Yeah.
King of the Ring, right? Um,
Ooh, yeah.
So I got a list of wrestlers here. And we're gonna do the game of this guy or that guy until we get to the end, and then that'll determine who. But I'm not gonna. I'm looking at basically the last 30 years of WWE. It was WWF because when I first started watching Hitman Hart, he was the man, right? So I want to start with him, and I want to go through. It's not gonna be like necessarily in chronological order. It's the first time I've
Hmm.
done this, so we'll just see how it goes, right? But it really shouldn't
Okay.
matter what order I don't think put them in. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
not
with
Are
really.
you are you gonna ask Mitch first and then me, or are we gonna go at
who
the
wants
same
to go
time?
first.
It don't matter.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask Mitch first. Okay. So I'm gonna start with Bret the Hitman Hart. Okay, because like I said, I feel like we all remember
Okay.
Bret's reign, right?
Yep.
Um, so start with the Hitman. Okay, so uh, Bret Hart or Chris Jericho.
Give me Jericho. Sorry.
Okay, Chris Jericho or Mick Foley.
Ugh. I'm sticking with Jericho.
Chris Jericho or Kane.
Still Jericho.
Chris Jericho or Kurt Angle.
Now, Anthony, you know me and we go way
We go
back with Kurt
back.
Angle. Oh man, I'll take, I'll take, I'll take Kurt. I'll take Kurt. I'll take Kurt.
Okay. Um, Kurt Angle or Batista.
Kurt.
Kurt Angle or Seth Rollins.
Seth. I'm a big like Shield mark, so I'm taking Seth.
Seth Rollins or Randy Orton.
Yeah, that's like splitting hairs, but I'm gonna give the. I'm gonna stick with Seth. Ugh.
Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar.
I'm gonna stick with Seth.
Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins or CM Punk.
Oh man, I'm gonna still go with Seth. I mean, again, just like splitting hairs, but
Seth
I'm gonna go with Seth.
Rollins. Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, hands down, the OTC acknowledge him.
Roman Reigns or John Cena.
Roman Reigns,
Okay. Roman Reigns or HBK.
Roman Reigns,
Roman Reigns or Triple H.
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns or The Undertaker.
It's not as easy, but give me Roman Reigns, the OTC, the tribal chief, the head of the table.
Roman Reigns or The Rock.
Now you've gone and done it. I was prepared to ride the tribal chief to the end, but I grew up in the Attitude Era, and I gotta take the Rock, the People's Champ.
Okay. Last one. The Rock or Steve Austin.
Oh gosh, this is like this is like choosing between like two kids. Like like how do you uh, The Rock or Stone Cold? You know, depending on what day you ask me, it could be a different answer. Kind of like how I rank Kanye's albums with Graduation and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Hmm.
Um, Today, I'm gonna take the Texas Rattlesnake though.
All right. Stone Cold is Big Mitch's King of the Ring. Galvez, uh, I'm going to go quicker with you because we got to get to the next segment. I'm going to start once
All
again with
right.
the Hitman, Galvez.
Okay.
I don't remember the order I'm gonna try to do it the best order I can. So I'm gonna start with Bret Hart, right? So Bret Hart or Chris Jericho.
Bret Hart.
Okay, Bret Hart or Mick Foley.
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart or Kane.
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart or Kurt Angle.
Oof. Personally, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle or Batista?
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle or Seth Rollins?
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle or Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar or Randy Orton?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton or CM Punk?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton or Roman Reigns?
Roman.
Roman Reigns or John Cena?
John Cena.
John Cena? John Cena or Triple H?
Damn. 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 Because of the Attitude Era Triple H.
Triple H or The Undertaker?
Undertaker.
Undertaker or HBK?
God. Mhm. Wrestling fan would be if he asks a wrestling guy, he'll say Undertaker, but me personally, HBK.
HBK or The Rock?
The Rock.
The Rock or Stone Cold?
Same with Mitch, man. Gee, mm. When I first started watching wrestling, it was really more The Rock. Or sorry, Austin, because The Rock was a heel. And then when Austin came back from his getting run over by Triple H, I think I had to really transition to The Rock. So The Rock.
Okay, so we got Mitch, King of the Ring is Austin, Gallows is The Rock. The fact that saved Stone Cold for last each time means to me that Stone Cold is the he. If there's any face of wrestling in the last 30 years, if they could only pick one, it would have to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. As much as
Yeah.
I love The Rock and Kurt Angle and HBK and
Oh
all
yeah.
these guys, if not the modern guys, the last 20 years
No,
guys, but all the guys before that, as much as I love
no.
and respect them, to me, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he'd have to be the
Yeah.
premier wrestler of the last, 30
I
years.
wonder. Okay, so you
It's
remember
like
Hold on,
it's
hold
like
on, hold on,
one
hold
A
on,
and
hold
one.
on, hold on. Take a
It's
break.
like one A and one B though.
Yeah. Now take a
But
break,
yeah.
and we're going to come back. All right, we're back. So it's time for the fandom segment. Uh, I wanted to start with we haven't talked about the boys yet on this podcast. Um, I know Mitch has been watching. He said he's finally all caught up after the most recent episode. Um, I don't really, I'm just sort of started getting into this whole fandom culture and stuff like that with the Marvel. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Marvel guy, but I'm trying to get into it, right? Um, I'm not sure if Galvez watches the show or not, but I know Mitch does,
Have not have not seen it. I'll stay out of it.
right? Um, Mitch, do you like what is your? Because I know in the most recent episode, Homelander, he uh he beat his son almost to death. His son's name was Ryan, I think, right?
Hmm.
Um, I was listening to the Ringerverse podcast, and they were talking about it. What is your? Why do you think? Okay, this is a question I asked. Why do you think Homelander, at the end of the day, why do you think he did not kill Ryan? Beat him basically within an inch of his life, but didn't kill him.
Yeah. You know, I think it's just that little shred of humanity that's still left in Homelander. It has to be. Like he's kind of gone, throughout the series, he's slowly kind of gone off the rails and he's been unchecked. But, there's still that last like little shred of like hope and humanity that's like inside of him that makes him like one of the most interesting characters in like television history. So it has to be just that little shred of humanity that he has left. Because like right before he started fighting Ryan, he's like, I love you. Yeah, and Ryan seems like, well, I mean, you raped my mother, and I mean, it's I don't think Homelander was lying when he said that he loves Ryan. I think that there's a part of him that really does. I think there really is. So yeah, it's just that last shred of redeemable quality that maybe Homelander has. Yeah, it's the only explanation.
Yeah. This is season 5, right?
Yeah.
We now a lot of shows by the time they get to the fifth season, you'll see people. It doesn't matter what the show was. It doesn't matter if it was The Wire, The Sopranos, uh, Game of Thrones. It's like the longer the series goes on, the more people become kind of like disgruntled. Even people who've been watching the whole time, they go, "Oh man,
Hmm.
this used to be a great show," right? In season
Yeah.
5 of The Boys, from what you've watched, would you say that the show is getting better? Has it stayed the same? Were the earlier seasons better? Uh, you have a take on that?
Um, so I mean, I think the show's really built to it's really risen to like a crescendo where it's like the first season's kind of slow, and then like season 2 and 3 are probably like when it reaches like its peak, and it hasn't like for me it hasn't dropped off like at all. Like season 4 was great. And we're only 3 episodes in to season 5. But I mean, so far so good. Like I'm like so locked in.
Okay. Um, shoot, I
And
guess.
really, I mean,
Mhm.
you kind of mentioned Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
Like I fight people to this day. My stance on Game of Thrones, the final season, has been, will always be that the last season is actually really good. Right? I actually enjoy season 8. As far as the finale goes, now if you if you cut the finale off when John kills Daenerys, spoiler alert, I think that's a good finale. If it stops right there, that's a good finale. Now the rest of it, trash. Totally agree. But yeah, up until the point where John kills Daenerys, I think, it was a great season. It's just, all the rest that just kind of I think it's just that last taste that people can't get out of their mouths, and that's why all the jokes and memes about season 8. But if you really look at it, season 8 was really good.
Yeah, I think I pretty much think all the shows, for what I look for in a show, uh, I think all the shows get better. I think pretty much every show got other than, I mean, The Wire in season 5. I think, I mean, season 1 and season 3 were to me season 1, season 3, season 4 were the best seasons of The Wire.
Right.
Um, The Sopranos. See, the thing about it is that is I mean, the I just feel like as time goes, it's just like anything else. As time goes on, you just kind of fine tune and you get better. The show starts to look better, just physically,
Hmm.
like visually, and everybody's mastered there. I mean, by the end of The Sopranos, I mean Tony Soprano was so fully immersed. All those guys, they had been playing those characters for so long that it was
Yeah.
just so masterful. It was just so good. Most people would say, "Oh yeah, that the earlier seasons were better for whatever reason." I look at it
Hmm.
differently. And I think Game of Thrones at the end. I mean, geez, I just don't know. I don't understand how to make people happy. If you can't
You
watch,
can't make everybody happy.
yeah, if you can't watch the end of Game of Thrones, when it came down the stretch, those last few episodes, starting with the what was it, the night when they what was it, the long night, right?
The Long Night.
I
That's such a
mean, and
great
people watched that
episode.
and were like, Oh, but the cinematography, it was too dark. We couldn't see it. It's like, what are you talking about, man? It's one of the, like, how
The
can you
long
complain?
night.
Yeah, how can you complain about something like that? You know. But
Yeah,
the only thing
Yeah.
I didn't
yeah.
like
Well,
about the ending was that what sense did it make to make
oh, it
the brand the king
made
when
no
the whole
sense.
show seemed to be pointing in the direction of Jon Snow being the king at the end? What was the whole point of the whole Jon Snow?
It made no sense
Yeah,
at all.
you know. So
So
Well,
yeah,
I mean, the thing with episodes is sometimes you, regardless of the show, you start kind of um, leaning towards certain characters, and then if they do that
mm,
character dirty or they kill him off, it's kind of
hmm
like show sucks, or you just you can't, like you said, you can't please everybody. It's like at a party. If you serve chicken, people wanted beef. If you serve beef, people wanted fish. It's just, you
yeah.
know, uh, you know, shows. It's crazy because shows either get better or get worse as the more seasons go on. You know, so it just every show's pretty much,
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
kind of like with the Avengers. They thought, all right, it ran its course. It's time for the new generation,
hmm
and all of their movies have flopped. So now they kind of have to bring back the old cast. It's just
Which now, man, it's crazy because yeah, I don't think the movies definitely didn't reach like the highest that they really wanted. But like I thought Shang-Chi was really good. Thunderbolts was really good. The Fantastic Four was really good. Um, I think the
but it
She-Hulk
didn't but
show
it didn't
kind
move
of,
but it didn't move the needle.
I mean, not, I guess not for other people, but for me
Yeah,
personally,
like you have to be like a true Marvel guy to really.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, I mean, especially with Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
I'm a Pedro Pascal like Mark, because I'm a big like Mandalorian fan. So like you
Did
put
you did you
Pedro,
see all the Avengers
well,
at
okay,
the
okay, okay.
theaters?
Look, hold on, because we're gonna head into the last segment. It's a good segue because we're gonna talk Avengers, and we'll be back in just a second. All right, we're back. Um, so guys, we're talking Marvel or Avengers at the end of the last segment. I want to talk about something me and Galvez. We talked about it off air. We wanted to get Mitch's thoughts on it, which is kind of when the whole this Marvel dynasty started was like the first Iron Man movie, right? And
yeah, that started it all. Yep,
you had obviously Robert
MCU at
Downey
least. Yeah.
Jr. And the role that brought him back to superstardom as Tony Stark, Iron Man. And then in the first movie, you had Terrence Howard. He played War Machine, right?
hmm
And Terrence
Yep.
Howard spent years doing interviews and saying how, basically, and Galvez, you go ahead and tell it because since I learned about this from you
So
originally.
yeah. So long story short, depending, Terrence Howard said he was the one that vouched for Tony, sorry, for Robert Downey Jr., who was kind
Yep.
of, a bad boy. Nobody really wanted to fuck with him in Hollywood, and he
hmm
really vouched for him. And so they put him on there. The movie takes off, and then now it's time for Iron Man 2.
Yep.
And from what I heard, I think Terrence Howard wanted more money, and then he gave it to him, and he was just really kind of pissed that Robert Downey didn't come to bat for him the way he did in the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
Now, and I was telling Wilson, look, morally, I would love to say, yeah, that's fucked up. But when you're talking millions of dollars,
Yeah.
I think we would all pretty much be Robert Downey Jr. And I told Wilson to be like this. It would be like if Vito Vito got me on the show, right?
hmm
And then the show takes off, and then Wilson goes, "All right, Vito, I'm not renewing your contract, but Galvez, you're staying on." And now we're making real money to the point where I could like not work anymore. And Vito's telling me, "Hey man, I put you on the podcast, bro. Like you better tell Wilson like this and that." And and I can't do it, man. Wilson's paying me top dollar, you know. Now, like I'm sorry, Vito. Like thank you, but you know,
Thanks.
you know. But
You're
now
real.
I did tell Wilson today. Robert Downey has Marvel by the palm of his hand. He could easily say, "Hey,
Yeah.
you know, find a way to bring him back. Just make it happen." And all is forgotten. I think even by Iron Man 3, you Tony Robert Downey Jr. could have already kind of but yeah, man. I mean, I like what do you think, Rich? In a perfect world, you would like to say you would vouch for
It,
him, but
yeah.
you know,
In a perfect world, you're gonna stand on business for your boy because it's like, okay, well, he got me in. I gotta hook him right back up, right? In real life, you know, with
yeah,
the Disney money floating around, Iron Man
yeah,
1. So, okay, let's put it all into perspective, right? Like Iron Man 1 blows up. But, this is also Robert Downey Jr. making like this huge comeback after being like low-key damn near blacklisted, right? Like
yeah.
for all of his bad boy antics and his troubles and all
The
that
guy
stuff.
was a fucking crackhead.
Yeah. So it's like after the first one, he probably doesn't think he probably doesn't want to rock the boat too much.
Mhm.
He's barely getting his life
Yeah,
and his career where it should have been. So that's probably why he's not thinking of like rocking the boat. Now,
yeah.
me personally, if we're being honest, it's one of those things where it's like I'm gonna probably give it like the one. I'm gonna probably give it like the one try, but like not like push
Mhm.
like super hard
Exactly.
because I don't want to. Because I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Robert Downey Jr. got to think about Robert Downey Jr.'s family. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to say. You know, it's
yeah.
good. But how about this? Who?
Mitch, real quick, sorry. Would you go against Shane Murray if Wilson paid you enough money on this podcast to quit your job and live a very decent life? And Mitch and Shane was on the podcast, and Mitch
Hmm.
and Wilson goes, "You know what? I just can't have Shane on here. He's bringing the show down. He's
Mm,
just not going to be on." And Shane was the one that brought you on, and that's your
right,
boy. What?
right.
Would
See, the
like?
thing
Would you?
is, and see, that's why I want to try to put myself in Robert Downey Jr.'s shoes because if it's me personally, I have two kids.
Yeah,
Is Shane Murray going to be feeding these two kids? You know what I mean? Like
yeah. And not only that, Mitch,
Shane Shane Murray
nobody
can
wants
barely
to,
feed himself.
yeah,
You know what I
and
mean? Like
nobody really wants to hire you, right? Like, they
exactly.
barely, this was Robert Downey's probably last and only shot
This
at
is last shot.
become,
This was
yeah,
his last shot for sure. Like he messes this up and he's done for sure.
Okay, look, real quick. Who's been the better War Machine? Terrence Howard only got one movie,
Terrence
right?
Howard.
Terrence Howard was
Terrence Howard.
better.
Easily.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
So this
yeah.
is
And
this is
Don
what
Cheadle,
actually
Don Cheadle's like a hell of an actor,
oh, he's
but
an
just
amazing actor.
the character itself, Terrence Howard for sure.
Terrence
Which
Howard,
is
easily.
surprisingly that they didn't want to. There must have been some politicking behind the scenes as to why they probably didn't want to bring him back.
I mean, I think they were just being cheap because the chemistry they were being cheap and they thought he was easily replaced, which I think in the grand scheme, they were thinking this character is like a side character.
Replaceable.
Nobody's gonna really care. I'm here to tell you guys, Sheila, really cares. She hates Don Cheadle with an absolute burning passion.
But is it because
And
of the backstory though, or
no,
just
it's just
no?
it's all because he su- he sucks at being roadie. He sucks at being War Machine. And she really enjoyed. First of all, she really enjoyed Iron Man 1, and then she really enjoyed Terrence Howard uh, and Robert Downey Jr. And let's be honest, the chemistry between Robert Downey Jr. and Terrence Howard is unmatched in that first movie. And that's the reason why it blew up so much. It's the
Yeah,
chemistry that they have. But Disney, being cheap
yeah,
and kind of being assholes when you hear the Terrence Howard story, how they had a handshake deal. And obviously they pay Robert Downey Jr. a little bit more because the movie blew up so much.
yeah.
So I mean, now
Yeah, see,
should they listen? Should they have paid Terrence Howard as much as Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man 2? I don't think so. Should he got a little bit less, like right under? Hell yeah.
and I guess it just depends on did Robert Downey Jr. actually even try, right? Because he could
I
have
hope he
easily said,
did.
"Look, if it's a money thing, you know, kick me off a little less, take
Right.
care of him,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's the reason I'm even here." But
Right.
again, if Disney told them, "Hey, keep your mouth shut," and you want to, so and so, um, but yeah, Terrence Howard, shout out to Terrence Howard, man,
Shout out to
amazing
Terrence Howard.
actor. Man,
Definitely.
he's War Machine, and then he's Hustle and Flow. He's a rapper. Like God,
Man.
he's 50 Cent's manager and Get Rich or Die Trying. I mean, God damn, his range is amazing.
Turns around. He's a cop in Four Brothers. Like, come on,
Yeah, he's
what are we doing?
amazing
Then he's a
range.
and then he's a music producer on Empire. Like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, shout out to Terrence Howard. Shout out to Don Cheadle. Even though my wife hates you, you are a good actor, sir. Just
It
so you
wasn't
know,
his fault. It wasn't his fault.
it wasn't his fault. He was in a no-win situation, honestly.
All right, so Mitch, do you have anything you'd like to say to an old friend of ours?
Yeah. So Herbert was going to come on and he was going to also give his thoughts on WrestleMania and how he believes in the original tribal chief, the head of the table,
Right.
Roman Reigns. But unfortunately, due to that damn Don Cheeto, we ran out of time. So sorry, Herbert.
Yeah. Sorry, Herbert. All right. So before we get out of here, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button
You know, it's
next to the Complete Podcast Network,
it's
and to
crazy
follow the
because
show on Twitter and Instagram at
she
TC Pack
loves
Network.
Fresh
You
Prince,
can
and
also
he has
send
like
feedback
a
and love
cameo in like
language
the
to
first
Complete
season.
Lakers Podcast
So
at
like even
gmail.com.
when we rewatch
We
that episode,
are
she
out.
hates him. She will boo him in that episode. Sorry, Don Cheadle.
Yeah.